From the Swedish Genealogy Guide, I'm Jeff Morris, and this is the third in a three-part series on reading Gothic handwriting for Swedish genealogy. In this lesson, I'm going to take the rules, principles, and ideas that I shared in the previous two and put it all together in reading through some examples. Let's get started. In this first example, we have the words impetus kopor, which means inoculated for smallpox. It starts with a lowercase y, which very often has two dots above it in the Gothic script, and in this case it's been put up there with a squiggle mark. Then we have a M, P, A, and notice how he did not close the A at the top. Then a D, a nice example of a lowercase e, and on the end we have a lowercase loopy s with a nice flourish coming up on the side. And then we have a K-O, P-P-O, and a lowercase r. The next phrase is föddes ett oächta barn, meaning was born an illegitimate child or a child born out of wedlock. Now I'm just going to focus on the letters that I think that you would struggle with the most. I think you would recognize the F and the with the two dots up there at the top, followed by the D and the D. And then we have the lowercase e and a lowercase loopy s on the end with a big flourish on the side. We have the word et, lowercase e, tt. You would recognize the O. That's followed by a which has the two dots above the there at the top. And this is followed by a ch. And notice how the C is almost just a vertical line. It's very, very short and very straight. That's a very typical example of lowercase c. And then on the end there we have a T and an A, and the A has not been closed at the top. Now because this is a lowercase a, when you look at the next word, you would see that there is a B-A-R-N for barn. This word is Förmyndare, which means guardian. It was taken out of a probate record. And when I first saw this word, I looked at that first letter and I had no idea what it was. So this is an example where what you do is you look at the rest of the word to see if it's one that you recognize. And if it is one that you recognize, then that first letter has to be, belonging to the word. So I was familiar with the word Förmyndare. We have a Again, the two dots are represented by the squiggle mark there up at the top. And then we have R, M, and the M is nice and clear. Then we have the Y, which with the two dots there up at the top represented by a squiggle, followed by a N and a D, and then an A, and the A has not been closed at the top. Then we have a RE, and that lowercase e on the end looks a lot like an N. In this example, we have Sammanwigdes Encke mannen. This came out of a marriage record, and the person who wrote this used a lot of vertical lines, which I call minims. There's so many minims that it's really, challenging to look at, and you wonder, where does one letter begin and another letter end, and until you start breaking it down. And when you come into a situation like this, what you want to do is start covering letters. You could use your fingers, you could use a pencil or eraser, whatever, to just start covering letters, to break out the letters that you recognize first, and then just do it by logical deduction, that if that's a letter, then what's the letter after it or before it. The first letters here are a S-A, and this is a straight S at the beginning of the word, and it's because this word is not a noun. So we have a straight S followed by an A. The A has not been closed at the top. This is followed by an M. Then we have an A-N, and he did not close the A at the top. Then we have a W-I-G and a D, lowercase e, and a lowercase loopy s on the end. The next word begins with E, and this guy just had his own style in how that E would be formed. Followed by an N. Notice how the N came all the way to the bottom on that first line before he started moving up towards the right. This is followed by a C, K, and a lowercase e. And look how this lowercase c is just a very short vertical line again. This is one that you'll see over and over. Then we have an M, A. He did not close the A at the top. And then we have an N and an N. Notice how when he finished the first N, he took the pen, came back over the top, and straight down to the bottom again before going up to make that next slope to the right. And then we have a lowercase e and a lowercase n. Okay, so let's look at this example. Is Kýrkioby rutan, and the word older, meaning Kýrkioby is the name of the rota, which is like a neighborhood. And it happens to be the part of the neighborhood where, in the village, where they have the actual parish church. And then older is the word for age. So it's a K, Y, because we have two dots up at the top, R, K, I, O, and then a B and a Y with two dots up at the top. The word rutan, he actually ran out of room in the columns that he's writing. So we have an R, O, and then he did a hyphen, and then he finishes it below with T, A, N. And the A is not closed at the top. In the next column, we have the word older. We have an O with a circle up there at the top, with an L, and then another hyphen, and then it's a D, lowercase e, R for age. This is another example from a probate record. The phrase here is för att bevaka de omyndiges, referring to guard the inheritance of the children who are not of legal age. We have the F, Ö, R, and then we have A, which is not closed at the top, T, T, B, lowercase e, V, A, K, A. Now, this example of a lowercase k is very typical. Then we have a D and a lowercase e, and then O, M, Y, N, D. And notice how this D has a loop that came over to the left. I mean, that's extended when he came back up right over the Y. That actually represents two dots over the Y. So when you see a D like that, where they have this long line that curves over and covers other letters, it can represent the two dots instead of writing a squiggle mark over the Y. And then it ends with I, G, lowercase e, and a nice lowercase loopy s. Okay, last example. It's the phrase Inflötte, uthi Församblingen. This came from a moving in and out record from 1693. And Inflötte is past tense. So these are the people who have moved in. And then we have uthi, which means out among. So out among the congregation. And the word has this I, N, F, L, Ö, with the two dots over the Ö, and then a T, T, and a lowercase e. The next word, uthi, is one that you'll see a lot in the records. And he's made a mark over the U, and then we have a TH and a lowercase I. This scribe also had, a very personalized F, followed by the Ö with the two dots, R, a nice straight S, A, M, B, L, I, N, G, E, and then a N on the end. When you see this A with a little O by it. It's an abbreviation for the word anno, which means in the year, and from Latin, and then the year 1693. Okay, with that, we are done. This completes the Reading Gothic Handwriting for Swedish Genealogy series. If you appreciate this content, I would be grateful if you would share it through one of the social media channels. Thank you.